Hello, this is Mark with Mark My Words. Happy Tuesday to you all. Happy to be with you, and let's have a conversation. Greenland. Many have an opinion, but few have the facts. What is the icy little island that everyone's fighting about? Why does it matter? What is its strategic importance? And why do we need it? Why is Donald Trump betting everything to be the first successful president out of 5 to purchase Greenland? So, what many of us have failed to realize is the map looks a little different than the globes that we've been shown. This is it laid out flat. America is right here. Greenland is right here. Europe is off to the right with the Mediterranean down here, Italy, and Russia. Alaska, Russia. Look how close it is. They are directly above us. Anything fired from Russia or flown from Russia or any boat from Russia goes directly through Greenland or through Alaska. We have Alaska locked down. Now we need to secure Greenland. We need to secure the Arctic. We're behind. Do you know about the underwater sea cables that run? And how they run? Here we go. Let me see if I can zoom this in. Here. So this is all your communications, all your internet, all your command centers, all your nerve centers. And look at here, right through Greenland. This is a very important piece of land that we need. I was looking for a better word, but it's a piece of ice, piece of land, and we definitely need it for our national security. Right? What else is needed for national security? Resources, right? Natural resources, rare earth minerals that we are buying all from China right now. We are fully dependent on China. They're ahead of us in the race in the Arctic. They're ahead of us in the race for rare earths. They have more icebreakers. They're building ports up there, and we don't even have Greenland secure yet. And I just showed you on the map how instrumental it is for our safety because it is so close to Russia. And Russia's already been testing and probing, and same with China, trying to see how they can leave their footprint on Greenland and take it over the next 10 or 15 years. So here's some of the precious metals that are found in Greenland. Graphite, copper, nickel, zinc, and that's just a few of them right here. This is what they're used for: electrical engineering, chemical reactions, medical and pharmaceutical applications, energy and fuel cell technologies, aerospace, automotive, environmental applications, emissions control, optics, photonics, just glass manufacturing, data storage. So without the rare earths that we have barely any of in America, our national security is not looking too hot for the next 10, 15 years. There's enough natural resources in Greenland, not even touching the oil and the natural gas, the rare earths, to supply the United States infrastructure and the army, the military compound for the next 100 years or 150 years. Who really knows? And then you got all these Europeans, all these talking heads in Europe that have been mooching off of America, living off of our generosity for the past 100 years, building all these social programs, giving their citizens free health care, free child care, 2-month-long vacations on the backs of our military. How are they able to do this? How was Europe able to, by the way, they said, oh, here we go, the UK sending out their special forces, a bunch of Muslims, because they've been fully invaded. But how was Europe able to live like this for the past 100 years? By American deterrence. Instead of spending money on military, instead of spending money on research and on military hardware to protect themselves, they have been sitting on the backs of Americans and robbing the tax dollar, keeping their GDP for defense well low below 1% until Trump even said something about it. Now they're barely even getting to 2% GDP. And they've been using that money to funnel it into social programs, welfare programs, giving it all away just like they're doing to illegals here in America. But over there it got a little worse. They kept importing and importing and importing. And now Europe in the next 10 years is not going to be a white nation anymore. It's going to be a Muslim nation. Mark my words, right? So you got all these leaders saying all this, giving crazy opinions. You know, some support it, some don't. You got the Hungarian, you got the PM, the Prime Minister of Hungary, right here making a statement. He made a statement. He denied. I guess the Hungarian PM has blocked the European Union from using a joint statement against President Trump, so some support him. You also got Italy coming out in support. Italy came out right here. The Italian PM Meloni, she came out. She also supported Trump. Then you got people talking heads like this top general in Canada who cried on national television over racism here.
I apologize to every CAF member, veteran who experienced racism, discrimination.
This is your Army General, Canada. I mean, just that country's been completely destroyed and pussified. I got nothing to say. And when they send troops, it's kind of a slap in the face of disrespect. Maybe it's just them posturing to their people, which also could be a possibility of Europe just saying, hey, look, we're still relevant. Look, we'll send some troops. They have to ask us and then we'll approve it later. But in reality, this is the difference in military budget spending. It's not even close. They can't do anything. They have none of their own planes. They have none of their own weapons. They have nothing. Everything belongs to America. All their troops are just, I don't know, Boy Scouts? Boy Scouts? Yeah. So you also got John Fetterman here from Pennsylvania. He understands that Trump is not the first president who wanted to do this. There's been 5 other ones. And he understands that Greenland is essential for national security of the United States. Right? So we've been over the geographic importance, the material importance, and now there's a little video that I wanted to play and commentate on about this guy's point of view, which I agree with strongly.
Why does the United States want Greenland as a military asset? Well, this wasteland is sitting directly on the shortest missile path between the superpowers. Whoever holds Greenland controls the hemisphere. Russian and Chinese vessels are swarming the area as reported by the White House, with Russia activating Cold War-era bases. From nuclear-capable bombers testing the U.S. radar to Russian submarines preparing a kill switch on the undersea cables that power the global internet. The threat...
Yeah, it's like, you guys don't think this is important? People that are against this plan, you guys want our national security to be at risk where Russia and China could just pull up and be right next to Alaska, right above our heads next to Canada? I know it's hard to realize, hard to understand how close it is, but when you see it from the point of view I just showed it, I hope that makes you understand that Europe is actually off to the side. It's us, Canada, Russia. We are like this.
It is silent, and it is real. But first, it has to go through Denmark 20,000 troops and the legendary dog sled patrol in comparison.
The legendary dog sled. Will we go through the legendary dog sled to get Greenland? I don't know.
The U.S. have 1.4 million active personnel and 13,000 aircraft. But the clock is ticking according to the White House. China is already mapping the Polar Silk Road to bypass the U.S. defenses. We have analyzed 5 steps and strategy on how the U.S. military will take over Greenland. In step 1, the U.S. activates the digital blindfold using EA-18G growlers and specialized satellites.
Obviously, this is all hypothetical, and I know that U.S. would not even need to invent Greenland because those dog sled teams would probably surrender. I mean, they sent the French over there. What are the French known for? Like, you need to know one thing as a soldier in the French army, just how to get on your knees and surrender. And everybody knows that the white stripe on the French flag is so they can fold it up, show the white part, and wave it as a white flag. So just France and whatnot and all those people that are sent troops, it's just a theater, man. U.S. is not going to need to do this. They're going to say, get out of Greenland, here's some money for it, and go ahead and take a hike.
In step 2 is the...
Oh, and just a little side note, right? Where is this?
Naval blockade from the Navy to keep Russia or China from interfering. It does this by blocking this gap against any enemy ships and submarines, all in the video ahead. Why is the United States suddenly obsessed with Greenland? Greenland is no longer just a frozen wasteland. It is the most contested frontier on Earth. Sitting directly between North America and Europe, it occupies the shortest missile path between the US, Russia, and China. Any Russian or Chinese military takeover will become a huge threat for the US. In 2026, according to the White House, it has issued a stark warning. the island was being swarmed by Russian and Chinese vessels. But the fear isn't just about ships, it's about a total strategic shift in the north. From the heavily fortified Kola strike hub Olenyev Guba Naval Base, Russian nuclear-capable bombers fly directly.
And see, this is what Russia has already been doing. Russia's already been probing, and they've been getting closer and closer. And in the next decade, if this keeps going the way it is, Russia will go ahead and take over. Russia will take over. And for Europe to go ahead and say that, you know, I was looking for this. I wanted to bring this up a minute ago, but I was looking for this proper. Didn't want to say something inaccurate. When Europe says that they would fight or that Denmark deserves that land or whatnot, let's look at the contributions of World War I and World War II just to compare who deserves what and if Denmark is a serious state or whatever. So when you look for deaths of Danish, they say that 700 Danish soldiers perished or something. They deployed about 50,000. United States had 116,000 death, and there was 2.8 million deployed, 4.8 million mobilized for World War I. When at the beginning of World War I, we didn't have anybody mobilized. World War II, the Danes had 3,105 deaths, right? And the U.S. had 405,000 deaths, 405,399, not including how we completely kept Europe afloat fighting the Nazis and Russia. Without the United States' contributions to Russia and to the UK, Russia would have folded. Stalin himself said that in one of his statements. That was later the Soviet Union tried to delete out of the future historical texts. And America sent Russia over 500,000 tanks, armored vehicles, and other motorized vehicles to get around. The canned food that we sent ships full of food and clothes because Russians had nothing. They were completely depleted. So if it wasn't for American involvement in World War II, Germany would have definitely dominated the whole continent and then came and tried to get America, you know? And the French are just known to surrender. They surrendered in what? The French surrendered in about 4 hours to the Germans. So, you know, America's been given free healthcare basically to all of them, free protection, free social programs, free immigration. That's all our money. See that defense budget? That difference in spending? You're feeling real safe sitting there behind the American shoulder while we're over here paying for everything? No, this is why we need Greenland. If we're going to be sitting here and talking about who deserves it, look what America has done for Europe in these past 100 years, and you guys just need to sit back and like realize that this is our land, and if we say we're taking it, we're taking it. You shouldn't have been spending your money on migrants from the Middle East. You should have been spending some money on some military.
Toward Greenland. They are calculated probes designed to stress test American radar and force U.S. forces into a permanent defensive crouch. Across the ice, Russia has raised a new Iron Curtain by reactivating over 50 Soviet-era bases. Armed with S-400 missiles and electronic jammers, these outposts are built to blind U.S. sensors in a conflict, effectively turning Greenland from a protective shield into a strategic liability. Meanwhile, China is playing the long game, eyeing Greenland's massive rare earth deposits to cement its grip on global technology. And beneath the freezing waves, the threat is silent. Russian vessels meticulously map the island's undersea data cables, preparing a kill switch, a hidden capability to sever the vital link between North America.
The same thing America did to Venezuela a few weeks ago, where they hit the kill switch in Venezuela. This is kind of what they're talking about here, the kill switch for America. Obviously, it'd be a little more complicated because we have better technology and security, but this is kind of the reason that it's so imperative for us to have Greenland and be able to protect our land, because once you see on the map, once you see this, once you see how close we actually are, we are literally super close. Greenland, America, Alaska, Russia, Europe's way over here. Once you realize all that, it makes total sense why we need it.
At a moment's notice.
It's not even an option.
The step-by-step process requires a direct comparison between the two countries, and the financial disparity is the first place to look. The United States military budget has now exceeded $1.5 trillion. Meanwhile, despite a significant increase in spending scheduled for 2026 to safeguard Arctic sovereignty, Denmark's budget remains approximately $12 billion.
Because they don't have any money for military. They don't have any money to spend. All their money goes on social programs and welfare and free food and free housing for Muslims. And so they can all have 17, 18 kids and stay at home and not work and not do anything. Same thing that's happening in Michigan and Minnesota. And it's just, this is going on all over the world, man.
The US commands a force of 1.4 million active duty personnel. Denmark's entire military, including those stationed in the Arctic, totals just 20,000 active troops. If the US deployed just its 11th Airborne Division to Greenland, it would already outnumber the Danish combat-ready forces on the island by a factor of 10. In the sky, it's a total lockout. The US Air Force and Navy operate over 13,000 aircraft, including hundreds.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't need to learn about the United States military. It's the greatest in the world. It's not even a question for debate. But yeah, so this is exactly why we need it. That is the conclusion of this conversation. And if somebody in Europe has a problem, or one of these Canadians that's constantly being, well, right now they're being taken over by China. Like, this is what China's done for Canada. Interfere in Canadian elections, bounties on Canadian heads, set up secret police stations on Canadian soil, kidnap Canadian citizens, steals their tech, tariff the goods. And this is what Trump did. Want to make the 51st state and tariff the goods to equally what they were tariffing America. And that's about it. So basically they can't stop us. There's nothing they can do. If you have an opinion, comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Catch you on the next one.